kind of hard not to look at yourself the whole time. Just make sure it's all going well. Right. So, yeah. What's up, Henry?
Not much.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
Everyone is wanting to hear your story about the Appalachian Trail. First, though, for those of you who don't know who this is my brother. He's 10 years younger than me, just about, and he just got done with the Appalachian Trail. As far as like prior accomplishments, he graduated high school and has been unemployed ever since. So I think the first question is, did you do the Appalachian Trail simply because you couldn't get a job?
Yeah, pretty much. No. I don't know. I just kind of had a gap and was doing landscaping and didn't want to do that as like a full-time thing. And so I wasn't sure what I was going to do next and decided might as well go do something pretty cool. So
most people, when they say, I might as well go do something, it's more of like an afternoon, maybe tops like a week, not 5 months of your life. So what about the Appalachian Trail was more than just like a spur of the moment decision? Is it something that you've always wanted to do?
I heard about it when I was a kid. You know, we knew people that had done it before, and we went to the Smokies and stuff growing up, and even in New York and stuff, you know, hearing Dad talk about how it goes all the way from Georgia to Maine, and I never really understood how far that really was. But I always thought it was kind of cool, but I never really saw myself doing that. But I kind of wanted to do something big because, you know, might as well. Like, nobody wants to. No, like anyone can go on like a couple-day backpacking thing, but
I don't know about anybody. I think most people would say one night in the woods is too much. You know?
They're gonna say, "Where's the shower?"
Going to the bathroom in a privy every day.
Yeah.
Most people would not be down.
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought it'd be cool and saw it as a great opportunity, and I knew that if I was gonna do something like this might be the only chance I ever have. You know, I have family here, but I don't really have any commitments or anything. So
he still doesn't, ladies. So how many miles is the Appalachian Trail?
It changes every year. You know, there's different routes and stuff, and they're always adjusting it. And the ATC isn't like the official thing, but it's like the closest thing to it. And they're always buying new land to get it out of people's properties because they don't want it in private properties.
Explain that to people. Well, I don't think a lot of people know that.
So the Appalachian Trail, a lot of it, well, all of it used to be either private or like just on roads and stuff. And so they first started, they wanted to get it off the roads because it's not safe. And then they're still trying to do that, and it's pretty far off road now. I mean, there's points where you follow it, but you're not on it very much. You just cross it a couple times. But yeah, there's just a lot of points on the trail where you're going through people's yards and stuff. And like, you know, it's just like this beat down path between these people's houses, and it's like, all right, this is kind of weird, but most people are pretty cool with it. A lot of people leave out drinks and stuff, so you can go over to the cooler and grab one. So a lot of people are fine with it, but, you know, people hiking, there's always going to be a couple bad apples that do something stupid and ruin it, so then people get mad about it. And so they're trying to move it off of people's properties or buying that, like a slim section of property just to keep that separate.
Yeah.
And part of that is that the ATC wants control. Like, they definitely have that in their minds, or they're like, we want to be the official, because they do end up making money off of it. But it's also
And it would help with conservation of that
absolutely
area.
Yeah. Helps with conservation, trail maintenance. It's easier for volunteers to get back there and do
makes
trail
it for
maintenance.
a better experience for people who want to do it. And,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, kind of controls the natural elements, because parts of it, I'm sure, are just like totally run over by people. And
Yeah, and part of that is the way that they designed it. Like, they wanted it to go through towns because it's supposed to be like a logistically easy trail where it's like, you get like 5-ish days of food and you can make it to the next town, And so there's some points where you have to get a ride, but most of the time you're on a road that, like, you can get to a road that it's a couple miles away from town or walking through town.
Yeah, I think that's another thing in talking to people that they don't necessarily understand is that you're hot, going from town to town.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you didn't go 5 months without a shower, even though you smelled it, right?
Yeah. Smelled pretty bad.
So you were going like 5 days, you'd say, on average?
Yeah, around 5 days.
And then you would stay in a hostel sometimes?
Yep. Stayed in quite a few hostels. People do it differently. Some people are against hostels because they can get dirty during the bubbles and stuff, but a lot of them try to keep it pretty clean. And
you want to shout out a couple hostels? You have any you liked?
I would say I stayed 2 in Georgia, and they were both nice. They all have different vibes. Like, the first one I stayed at was the Green Dragon, and it was just super, like, it was nice. Like, it was a newer, like, this is like its second year, and it was a super nice place. They are kind of stricter, but it's understandable, But, yeah, that was a nice place, first hostel, so it was kind of either that or I could go to one of like the older, like cheaper hostels, and I ended up going with this one because I knew I had met people that were going to it. But yeah, and then I don't know, I have a pretty bad memory. But the last hostel we stayed at, Shaw's, is a great place. I think it's an amazing place for people that are finishing and starting, because especially for people that are starting, because they'll do a shakedown and they have gear you can buy, and it's just a real small town and great community, and yeah, it's a big breakfast, and so yeah, it's a nice place to stay. They can host a lot of people, but it's cool to my group was finishing as we started seeing the southbounders start, so it's cool to run into them and talk to them and see what they're thinking about the trail and stuff, and they can get our ideas and what we've learned.
You were Nobo number what?
When I started, I was like 60 something, and then finishing, I was 20 something.
Yeah, so that's where he, like the number where he started is how many people were going northbound, and where he finished. So you were, top dozen people finishing going north or so.
Yeah,
which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. When during the trail did you realize that 2,200 miles is a long way?
The first 100.
Yeah.
It was, so we'd stayed at, where did we stay at? I don't know. It was after the first hostel, which is already like bad news, because like, man, I haven't even why am I staying here? Like, I haven't made it anywhere. And then we're going, it's up this like pretty steep climb. It's just a staircase, and at the time you don't have trail legs or anything, and so it's a rough climb,
And you have the heaviest bag
Oh,
because you
yeah.
haven't thinned it out at all.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing with my gear, so it was just ridiculous. And I get to the top, and there's a fire tower, and you could go most of the way up. It was locked at the top, but it was a cool, good view for the 100-mile mark. But then as I was sitting there and I was eating my trail mix, I was thinking, I have to do this 21 more times. This is gonna take forever, but.
So in those first, your first couple months were pretty cold overall. And when about, because you met a really good group of people, when about was that?
In Georgia. Met them.
You met them that early?
Yeah,
I thought it was later than that.
So the couple that I was hiking with, I met them my 3rd day on trail. And then I met Happy Feet my 4th day on trail. Okay. And then there was like a big group staying at I think it was the Trey Mountain. A big group was staying up there, and they were all headed to the Green Dragon, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll go. So wanted to hang out with people, and it was super cool because met some really interesting people there, and that was kind of my first experience with like, wow, like the culture here is different, because there were like some people that had been on trail before and like knew like how everything went, and so that was cool.
Yeah. Well, so I guess one of the thoughts that I had is the woods kind of put you in a different place as far as experiencing silence.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any time during the trail where you felt significant silence or loneliness, or and then what was that like?
There were a lot of times at the start I didn't hike with them. Like we would just end up at the same place every night, and we'd kind of plan that, but we wouldn't hike together throughout the day. And so all day it would just be me. And there aren't, starting in February, there aren't as many animals out, like even birds. And so you just don't hear a lot during the day. And so it's just kind of you in your head the whole time. And then same with like at night. Most of the time there was someone around me. But on the nights that I was alone at night, it was like, it's just crazy how quiet it was. That was like my first night on trail. That was what I was shocked by the most, was just how quiet it was. Yeah. But yeah, there's definitely spent a lot of time just in my head. And then like, going at the start, didn't really hike around anyone. And then same thing in like the Smokies and stuff. I had the rough day in where I just stayed alone in the shelter all day, and I didn't move. Like I just sat there, and so I was just like trying to sleep, but you can't sleep that long, and so I was just sitting there thinking.
Explain to everybody what was going on. Why did you stay in a shelter in your bivvy all day?
So going into the Smokies, first of all, I had lost my puffy, which is like the down jacket, and I lost that going up Blood Mountain in Georgia. And then I didn't really know what I was doing with food still. Like my nutrition was terrible. And so there was a marina at Fontana, which I was expecting to be open to get some snacks to go into the Smokies, because I didn't want to stop in Gatlinburg or wherever the town was in North Carolina. And so I was like, I'm not stopping. But the marina was closed, and I couldn't get food. And thankfully, Fontana has a bathroom with electricity in it. So I was charging my phone, and I called Jacob, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I was like, I'm gonna run out of food, and I'm cold all the time. So called him, and he's like, well, do you want me to bring you stuff tonight? And I was also having foot issues because I just didn't have my socks right and stuff, and boots weren't great. And so he said, do you want me to get you some stuff and bring it down? And I was like, I don't know, I feel bad, that's a long drive, like I can probably just figure it out. And you're like, do you want me to bring it tonight, or do you want me to wait till Monday or whenever it was? And we were gonna do it like at the halfway point, or like somewhere in the Smokies. And we decided on that night. I don't know why, but I'm thankful we did, because he gets there the next morning. We hike up to this fire tower, first fire tower in the Smokies. We had a great view. It was a beautiful morning.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And then we separate, and I'd been eating the food that he brought, so, and we separate, hike in, did like 18 miles, which is the first time I did 18, and it felt pretty good. And then camped out, and the next day started, and the snowstorm hit, and it was pretty cold. And as like it got closer to the end of the day, because it was still early in the year, so the sun sets super early, so you're just racing the sun all day. And so I was going, and it started getting really cold, where like, I'd stop and eat a snack, and like my hands would freeze, and I was like, this isn't good. Like I need to I need to keep moving or something. And so I made it to the shelter. I think I got water, cooked dinner, and started a fire, and just was dragging in anything I could find to dry it out, because it was snowing, to burn it. So the fire was taking forever to do anything, but I was like, man, it's getting cold. And I hadn't really looked at my phone yet, because I always turned off my phone. So I didn't know how cold it was, but I just knew it was pretty cold. And so I was like, well, I should probably, dry my socks by the fire, which I did that. And I was like, I need to warm up water to sleep with. But I did that. Well, I tried to do that, and I melted the sides of my water. And then, like, all my water bottles were just, like, bent and leaning. Drinking all the microplastics.
Yeah, right. Olga's gonna love to hear that.
Yeah. And then, but slept that night, woke up in the morning, packed everything up, and went out, and I got my food off a bear cable, because the Smokies have bear cables, and it was just covered in snow. So I was like cleaning that off, and I was freezing. I was like, this is terrible. And I had to poop really bad. And I was thinking, there's a visitor center at Kauai Klingman's Dome, and so I was like, well, if they're open, then maybe I'll just stop there and sleep in like the bathrooms or somewhere there, and I'll use the bathroom and stuff, because I didn't want to go outside. And I didn't have enough reception to look it up, and I called Jacob and asked him about it, and you said, no, they're closed. And I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. And looked at the weather, and the wind chill was -19. I don't remember what the actual was, but so I was like, all right, I'm not hiking in this. This is stupid. And so I opened my bivvy up and set it up, and then put my sleeping bag in it, and all I use is a foam pad, which isn't the best for cold weather, but I don't know, it worked. And just slept in there all day. Didn't really drink much water, didn't eat any food, just laid there. And then, yeah. This was a pretty rough day in the Smokies.
Yeah, not how I remember the Smokies. certainly a different perspective. When you were laying there, was there like thoughts like, why am I doing this? Was there ever a moment where you were like, this is not for me? Or
I was kind of thinking like, man, this is pretty stupid to like, there's no one else out here like
Yeah.
right now. Like, why am I doing this? And then I was like, this is gonna be a pretty cool story though. It's like, it's worth it. But then, I started thinking about like what I have, and I'm like, like I know I'm not gonna want to get water in the morning, so I shouldn't use my water. And I knew I had enough food to get me out, so I was like, it'll be fine. But I knew that my phone would die. I was like, there's no way this battery's lasting, because I still had over half of the Smokies to do.
Right.
So I was like, I don't know, I'm kind of in trouble there, but it should be fine. So I figured I'd run into someone, and
Yeah.
So that night, there were two guys that I had met that caught up to me, and they were both, covered in snow, freezing cold, and they were both like, man, I can't believe we see you again. Like, we thought you'd be gone. I was like, you guys are insane.
Yeah.
Like, can't believe you're hiking in this. And he's like, you're from Ohio. You should be used to the cold. And I was like, I can go inside after I'm done in Ohio.
Right. Yeah.
But, so, yeah, the two guys get there, and one of them just sets his stuff up because he's super cold and his hands are frozen. And so he gets in bed and is just trying to warm up. And then the other guy is like going out, he gets water, and he's like, hey, my wet wipes are frozen. Can I, you have any TP I can use? And I'm like, yeah, dude, what are you going to go poop in the snow? And he's like, yeah. So he went outside and pooped, and but yeah, he's just sucking it up and doing it, and I was like, I'm not moving. But yeah, the guy that froze his hands, he had frostbite on his hands and ended up getting off trail, and he actually got
Choppered out.
Yeah.
So I love the aspect of community that you experienced, and it makes me think a lot about. In fact, I wrote a couple like blog posts about, because we spent some time together in Virginia, and I just was thinking about the community that you're experiencing, and that wasn't really a part of like my own thought process of you going into this. I think about like the mountains, the mountains and the waterfalls and the weather, and I'm like, man, that's going to be so cool for you to experience. And I'm assuming it was, but also that idea of community. You're not always going to be able to be on a mountain, but you are always going to be around people. And I think, just in you being back home, I certainly see you differently, not only because of what your eyes have seen and where your legs have taken you, but because of what you shared with other people. So I just feel like that has to be such like an education that most people don't have. Is like, these are total strangers, but I love them and they love me, and there's no that competitiveness. There's no, we all just want to succeed. I think that is very true about everyday life. Is like, man, I think most people want everyone around them to succeed, but we get distracted by everyday life from actually encouraging one another or living life with one another. But so I think that's beautiful. But I think the physical nature thing is beautiful too. And when I drive around any of the towns that we're around, I'm a big architecture guy. I complain all the time about Columbus's architecture. I think it's so atrocious and ugly. And, you would send home pictures sometimes about some of the beautiful landscapes that you're seeing. And I'm like, dude, that's just so crazy. And in preparation for us talking, I was just reading through one of my favorite like philosophical takes on beauty, and he says we seek beauty everywhere. In a sense, all contemporary crises can be reduced to a crisis about the nature of beauty. And so this guy, I think his name's John O'Donohue, maybe, but he's looking at the world and he says, all of these experiences that we're having in human relationship and human nature relationships, they're all relating back to the fact that we've ignored beauty, that we have decided that efficiency and that utility are just as important, or actually more important than beauty. And we've forgotten that beauty is what actually gives us meaning. That we are so often dead-end by the artificial and the dull around us, to where we forget to even look for beauty, that we forget that it exists, that we should be searching for it. And so one of the things I kind of wanted to tap into you was, what about beauty changed in you while you were out on the trail?
You mean as far as I see it? Like,
yeah, you saw things that most people will never see.
yeah.
The reality is you're in a very small class of people who have hiked the entire Appalachian Trail, and there's parts of that trail that 99% of people will never go to.
Yeah.
And so that's like untapped, untouched, raw beauty, and I know you appreciate that. So what is it about the trail that's kind of taught you about beauty and how you see the world?
So, starting early, all the trees are dead still because it's winter. But you still, you're looking around this forest and you're seeing all these leaves on the ground. And, every once in a while you spook a deer or something and you get all excited because it's like the first animal you've seen. But then you get to this lookout and you're looking over and it's like, you forget that the trees are dead, because it's, you still got like the blue kind of haze over it, and the brown becomes beautiful, and it's super cool to look at. And then, as you keep going, the terrain, the views kind of stay the same, and so it's easy for a lot of people to oh, it looks the same as it did before, I'm not gonna really pay attention. But I've focused on seeing and caring about the views, and so I had enjoyed it and stuff. And when the snow falls, it gives a whole new perspective and beauty. I loved seeing the snow on the mountains, even though it sucked to sleep in and stuff. But so that was cool. And then seeing spring come, and we were kind of racing it, we were going back and forth, where it was you dip down in elevation and it's oh, everything's green and there's different flowers and stuff, and then you go back up in elevation and it's everything's brown again. It's but you get more views up there, and so it's super cool to see. And going through the Smokies, the later part of it, when there wasn't the snow had melted and stuff, seeing the moss and stuff there is amazing. It's pouring rain, you're freezing cold, but it's still a beautiful sight, and you can really appreciate it there. It feels like you're in another world, and it's, I don't know, I guess I just had never noticed that before. I mean, I don't know, but that was super cool. And then I don't know, I'm kind of I hate PA. But there were definitely, I mean, I don't know, I wasn't a fan of PA.
Yeah.
But after that, you're going into New York and stuff, and it was cool to see, like, you start seeing, like, the bigger rocks to walk on, and you get that more of that, like, northern feel, and you just keep going into it, and it gets muddier, but, like, you know, you get to the Green Mountains, and it's pretty amazing, and still dealing with mud all the time, but there's a ton of the, what are those little orange, like newt things?
Oh, like the little lizards?
Yeah,
newts.
ton of those everywhere. And so that was super fun to, you know, you're hiking and there's like 50 yards where it's just covered, and you're like,
That's wild.
yeah, you're like, because you don't see them all at once. You just see, like, you know, you see like 5 of them, and you're like, whoa, I can't believe there's 5. And then you look back up and you're like, whoa. But, you know, that was super fun. But then, like, you know, everyone talks about New Hampshire and the White Mountains, how it's like the most beautiful part of the trail, and it is amazing. You know, it's a great place to see things and just experience it, because it's, you know, you start getting the alpine zones where it's just exposed, and you're getting heavy wind, and just the weather becomes more intense, but you're going through these paths where the pine trees are real tight and overgrown.
That's awesome.
So you're like squeezing through, and you know, you're getting scrapes on all your stuff. But like those, you know, going up in the White Mountains, it's a lot of boulders, and like that's the hardest terrain physically. But then you get up, and everyone's like, some of like the ridge lines and stuff are like these like smaller rocks, or it's like where you're like crowded by pine trees, and it's like, this is amazing, because you just saw a view, and you know you're headed towards another one, and you're just excited to be there. Like,
yeah,
this is the best place ever. And then but you're just getting 360 views, and it's like, you know that your phone isn't going to do it justice.
Yeah.
And you can't tell, like, the elevation change is harder, and so it just adds to the beauty of it all. And then you go through Maine.
You love those black flies in Maine. The beauty of the black flies in Maine.
No, that was the worst. But yeah, the 100-mile wilderness is, I don't think it was the most beautiful, and like, I kind of struggled through it, because I was like, I'd rather just get this done as fast as I can and finish. And it just, you know, it's not the hardest terrain. There's a lot of water and stuff, and that's beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
If you have great weather, then you can be swimming at beaches of lakes every day, and
that's incredible.
So yeah, like, if you had the good weather, then it would be like one of the best spots. And then you know, to end it, you have Katahdin, and it's amazing going up. I mean, you have a few false summits, and it's like, oh man, we aren't even close. And then you're like looking at how far you got, and you're like, how do I still have a mile? Like,
yeah. Some of those pictures look nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy how big it is. Like, I didn't realize how many different peaks and like just spots there are. Like, it's a whole different area of its own.
Yeah.
So I completely understand why they wanted it separate. I think they went to the extreme, but yeah, it's definitely a different spot. And it's, you know, after the last 100 miles of like not much, it's just like breathtaking. And it's the end, you know, it's the northern terminus. And it's like, I just finish something that not that many people have done, and
Yeah.
it's just a crazy view.
What was the conversation like in your head and with the group you were with about finishing?
Happy Feet is going up is mostly me and Happy Feet talking. And I mean, our group had been talking about finishing for like 300 miles. So, but it was me and Happy Feet kind of went ahead just because we were excited. We were talking, and he was trying to like focus and not get too emotional, because he'd been dreaming about doing this for
Most of his life.
Yeah, since like 30 years or something. And so he was just taken away. He couldn't believe it, and we were just trying to figure out the right path, because it's like a lot of boulders. So we were trying to figure out the best way up, and we felt kind of bad for getting ahead of everybody, but it was like, it's just a surreal moment where it's like, this is it. Like, this is, like, I'm about to go back down, see my family, and I'm gonna be gone. Like, you get off trail. We got off trail for a couple days, and that felt different, but we knew that we were headed right back.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be through hikers anymore. We're just like
Back to life.
back to life.
Yeah.
So it was pretty crazy, and we knew Rainbow. Well, Elwood was gonna propose to Rainbow, and so we were kind of talking about that to keep our minds off of. Just thought it was funny, because the night before he was like, "I'm not even nervous right now," and then going up that day, we were like, "I bet he's, I bet he's freaking out right now." But yeah, we were laughing, having a good time on the way up for sure.
Good.
And then up top, we hung out there a long time and took a bunch of pictures, and this is pretty amazing.
We're like, what, 2 or 3 weeks removed now? Something like that? How do you feel now?
I don't know.
Been busy.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't feel like I'm happy it's over, kind of, but I'm definitely like gonna be like thinking about it, But it's not like, I don't think I'm gonna get like depressed or anything, but it's definitely like, man, that was awesome, and I think I'll be looking forward to the next thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't think.
What is the next thing you're doing?
I don't know. Maybe.
Or you hope to do, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends where life takes me. What my future looks like. Part of me, if I still don't have any commitments, then
likely.
then maybe I'll do the PCT. But that's another 4.5 months.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. And there's always like, you could do it faster, but I don't think I'd want to. And then a little bit shorter would be the Colorado Trail.
Yeah.
And that's like a little over 500 miles, so about 4 or 5 weeks. And then if I did that, I would probably want to do Rainier in a day. Might as well try it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so definitely those two would be super cool. I don't know.
Yeah. So one of the things that I feel like would be difficult is being able to relate your experience to other people, because what you've done is pretty unique. Have you felt any kind of like struggle with that? Because most people have not had that type of experience, and their day-to-day conversation has to do with like going to Costco. So you're like, yeah, but I just hiked 2,200 miles. So.
These people don't even know. Yeah, there's definitely people don't understand it for sure, and they see what gets posted, and I think they get the wrong idea of what really happened. It wasn't a vacation. It was hard. It was a job. You're hiking for 8 to 10 hours a day,
Yeah.
and it's not easy mileage. Nothing. There's not really. I mean, maybe like southern Pennsylvania. It's like, oh man, we've been walking on flat ground, but nowhere else. Like it's basically the whole time you're like struggling with something. Like it's just each day is different, but it's super hard, and people don't really understand that. And yeah, I don't know. I think people kind of understand, like, you don't get to shower as much, but like they don't. No one really thinks about like the food that you're eating, and like they just think about like, oh, do you see any animals? Which is cool. I mean, like, yeah, I wish I would have gotten to see a moose and stuff, or like seen more bears. Like it would have been a lot cooler. But that like the food we're eating is just like crazy, and like the amount that we could eat was crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's definitely parts that people don't understand, but
Yeah. Well, I got a lightning round real quick.
all right.
So you don't have to go into like super big detail, but one of the things that I like about our body, because our body is such a gift, and one of the things I like about our body is when you smell something, it immediately makes you remember something. And actually, like, our gift of smell is tied very closely to our memories. So, but all of our senses are amazing. And so I think it'd be fun. You go through the senses, touch, taste, see, smell, hear. Name something, like a specific memory that you think will stick with you from each of those senses.
I don't know. Probably. I think seeing. There's just like looking at the different mountain ranges. Like there's some good spots where you can like see an entire mountain range. Like Max Patch, you're looking at pretty much the entire Smokies, and it's just an amazing spot. But then like finishing on Katahdin, I don't think I'll ever forget that. Smelling, I don't know, I would say there were areas where there's like dense, actually, I was going to say dense pine trees, and you could smell it really well, but there were these like flowers that grew like in the near, like up north, near like the alpine zone. It wasn't the alpine flowers, but they're just like smelled great, and it was like going through that. You smell terrible, but you can smell these flowers, and it was just amazing. Like it was so refreshing, even though you're breathing in like great air all the time. It was kind of like I want to sit here and smell these for a second.
Yeah.
I'd say, I don't know. I don't know what touch would be. I guess like swimming in some of the waterfalls were amazing. It felt great. Because especially, I mean, most of them are spring fed, and so it's just freezing cold water. And sometimes we got in when it was kind of colder out, but then a lot of the time we were just drenched in sweat, and so we just like, doesn't matter what I'm doing. Like, so you just get in, and you're washing your clothes and wringing them out. And then, I don't know, eating, let's see.
I guarantee every time you eat peanut butter.
I'll think about peanut butter the rest of my life. Yeah, definitely ate a lot of peanut butter.
Was there anything on the trail that you ate, though, that you're like, did you find any, like, wild berries or?
No, we were too early for pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, at the end, we did find wild strawberries. That was like a little reward.
Yeah.
But we went and got some
Whoopie pies?
No,
Cheesecake?
on trail. We got fiddleheads, which is
What are those?
they just grow in the mountains, out in the wild, and people up north go and get them and sell them. But we picked some and ate them. And tastes like asparagus, so
Nasty.
yeah. But every time I eat asparagus, I'll think of, man, I ate fiddleheads that might have been cooked not long enough. I don't know. That's what Scat Pack told us about them, and me and him found them. I pulled off like 5 takes that day, and but we went and got them, and he boiled them. I don't know how long he did it for. And he's like, I don't know. And we're like, all right, let's do it. He ate a bunch. I only ate like 2. But I was like, I wonder what happens. And he's like, I think it just gives you diarrhea if it's not cooked right. But we were good, so.
Cool. What about here?
What do you mean? Oh, here.
Yeah.
At the start, there were a ton of owls, and that was super cool to hear.
Yeah.
Like, every night, it was just owls. And then up north, you'd hear the loons calling, and that's a super cool sound. Not, like, relaxing.
Can you make that sound for us?
No. No. But yeah, they sound super cool. Yeah. Kind of freaky if you don't know what it is.
Right.
But
Did you ever hear any, like, cats out there?
there was one night, I think I heard a bobcat, but it was just, like, kind of quiet, so nothing.
Nothing too crazy?
Not like
Because that's what you hear. You hear horror stories
like
about screamers.
cougars screaming and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear any of that.
So, the last question is this. Anytime you go through something like that, you experience changes. What do you think on the trail died on the trail? And what, maybe you don't have to go into that, but in its place, something was most likely born that you're going to have to protect now that you're back in regular life. Would you be open to sharing an experience like that? That you experienced that type of change, or something died out there and something replaced it that needs protecting as it grows in you?
I'm not really sure. I think I've changed. I don't really know like how much. Like I can't really tell. But I definitely think like obviously the way I see community is different. I think I would say I'm more like patient because I'm not like I wasn't as stimulated for so long, you know. I don't know. I think I don't know. In a way, I kind of care less about what other people think, you know.
Yeah.
Like I was wearing goofy stuff on the trail, and I don't know. I guess I was kind of like that before though, but I'd say it just a little bit more extreme. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough question.
Well, I think with time, it's still fresh. It was a fast experience. I mean, I know 5 months. When people hear 5 months, they're like, "That's a long time." But I imagine when you're hiking every day, sometimes maybe it feels like I've been out here forever, but then other times it's like it's not that. Not my, because I tell you, you didn't miss anything while you're gone. You know what I mean? Like in reality, 5 months is really fast, and so it's a lot to process, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there were definitely times where it's like, at the start, it's like, man, like, like I said, like 100 miles, it's like that took forever. But then now, like looking back, it's like, yeah, that first half went pretty quick. And then, like, I don't know, I feel like the states got shorter,
Yeah.
So you start, like, hitting milestones faster, and so then it feels like it's just going faster and faster, and then you slow down in New Hampshire, and then you hit Maine, and you're like, all right, now we should be able to speed up again, but it just felt slow, but then we're at the end, and so it definitely, like, at times it felt long, and at times it was like, wow, I'm flying through miles. And then now, I look at a map and it's like, wow, it's crazy how far I walked.
Yeah. I just remember, because we were keeping up with where you were, and I just remember at the beginning, we would check every night how far you got, and we're like, this guy's never going to get home. Like, he's going so slow. And then it just seems like once you hit Virginia, it was like, man, he's just pounding out the miles.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure you were actually lengthening your distance, if I remember right, because you're getting out of some of that terrible weather. And
yeah, a little bit less elevation change. And yeah, we just started doing... we were doing like 23 to 27, 28 miles every day going through Virginia.
Yep. Just a marathon a day. That's what you got to do.
Yep. But there were definitely... I don't know. It's weird how it works because we weren't like... I mean, we were doing pretty big mileage, but we weren't doing like the most, There were people doing a lot bigger than us, but we were pretty consistent. Like, we really didn't take that many days off, other than like, we took like the 4 days off in a row, which were huge, right? That's, it's almost 100 miles pretty much of missing. And so, that was a big break. But other than that, we were super consistent compared to other people.
Yeah.
And so, like, there was a guy, he finished 2 days before us. He started a day after me, and he only finished 2 days before us. And he was doing like 30 miles consistently. Well, with like zeros though. And so it's just like, you take more zeros, it's going to slow you way down. And so it's like, dude, you could have been hiking in a group this whole time. Because when he caught us originally, he was like, when did you guys start? And we're like, I told him February 8th, and he was like, I started the 9th. And we were like, how have you not caught us if you're going so much faster? And he's like, I guess I took too many zeros. And he's like, I've been hiking alone this whole time.
Man.
But
that's a different experience.
Yeah, for sure. And there's people that choose that. Like, there's a guy that hiked pretty close to our group. He's a little ahead. Like, we got ahead of him, and then we took those days off, so he got pretty far ahead. Then we caught back up, and we finished around the same time. But he chose to be alone. But he'd hike from whenever he wakes up to sundown and just end up where he ends up. And I think if I was hiking alone, I would do the same. You know, just go to like feel like stopping. But I don't know. I think I realized that I like people more than that, so I'd rather just hang out.
Yeah, I feel like I think that's a huge lesson that just as an observer, I'm like, I think Henry's realizing how important people are to him. That
Yeah.
It's hard to be alone.
Yeah,
It's hard
for
to
sure.
be alone. For a lot of people. I mean, obviously some people, they thrive on it, but even the biggest of introverts, I think, still want someone in the room.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, even like, you know, even if you go through the day alone, like hiking, it's still nice to be like at night, you know, someone's going to be at the shelter or at the campsite, and that you're going to be able to talk to and, you know, eat dinner with.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'll say, as an observer, watching you come home, I feel like there's a lot of peace in you, and that it feels like there's some weight lifted off your shoulder, and that from what I've seen of you, there's a lot of angst to accomplish something, to feel like you're doing something of meaning and of purpose. And this is just a huge accomplishment that no one can take away from you. And even if you're unemployed for a long time, no. But it is serious, you know, that you do have this huge accomplishment that you should be really proud of, and I know we're all really proud of you. So,
Thanks.
yeah. If so, anyone out there is listening and they are thinking about doing the Appalachian Trail or parts of the Appalachian Trail, what's your suggestion for them?
Do more research than I did.
He did no research, so it doesn't. That's a really low bar.
Yeah, do research. Make sure your pack actually fits before you go. I would do like a 3-night backpacking trip. I wish I would have done that.
Not
before.
around the backyard, like actually going somewhere.
Yeah, like actually hiking. Yeah, just a couple of days, just so you know, like, how your pack's gonna feel, and what, maybe in that time you can figure out what gear you're gonna use, because it's like, you really don't need that much, you know, because you think, like, oh, I gotta have this, because you're, like, in survival mode, but it's like, really, it's like, I mean, to an extreme level, you could, like, you know, I have nail clippers, I can cut a bag open with that. Like, do I need this 4-inch knife? No.
Yeah.
You know, all you need is a little, like a Swiss Army thing is great, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, weight is just a huge part, because it just makes a huge difference. Yeah. And my group kind of did it wrong. I mean, we were lightweight for the most part, but we still started every day with 2 liters of water, but it's like, really, you only need 1, you know, make it to the next water source, refill.
There's a lot of water.
Right.
Yeah.
There's just water everywhere. And, I mean, there's parts, if you came later than us, you know, you can be in a drought, like last year. A lot of people going through Virginia and Pennsylvania ran out of water. And
That's
they were,
crazy.
like, a lot of people were struggling in the heat because they didn't have water. But there's trail angels that'll leave, you know, 2 5-gallon jugs of water for you.
Yeah.
And they come and refill it every day. But when there's a huge group, you know, that's gonna run out quick.
Yeah.
So there's parts where you're gonna need to carry more, but you don't really have to.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I was thinking about the extra weight thing. And it's like every extra pound you have, if you're taking 40,000 steps that day,
Yeah.
it's like doing, yes, it's 1 pound, but it's doing 40,000 reps of 1 pound.
Yeah.
That's a lot, So, yeah, every extra bit matters.
Yeah, for sure.
So your nickname, before we go, I suppose we can wrap up, but your nickname was?
Lucky.
Why was it Lucky?
Because at the start, I got a bunch of trail magic, which is, people making meals for you or just giving you some gear or like some snacks or whatever you need or want. People just give it to you.
It's trail magic because it's chance,
right? Yeah, you don't know when it's gonna happen or whatever. And so I was just getting really lucky with that stuff, and someone suggested it, and I was like, all right, sounds good. But it's kind of basic. A lot of people get nicknamed Lucky, and I realize now that if you start in the bubble, you get trail magic all the time.
Oh.
But we started early, so
yeah.
It was still lucky. Cause especially since like there were people that would be like behind me or like in front of me by a little bit, and I would get it and they wouldn't, and so they would be like, "All right, like this is ridiculous." Yeah. But yeah, so just a lot of things worked out, and obviously I had some unfortunate things happen, but I'd rather focus on the good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. From our perspective, it felt like a lot of stuff worked out,
Yeah.
The Smokies seemed scary, but, you didn't have any major injuries or big hiccups, really.
Yeah.
Did you?
Not really. Just, I had issues with my feet. It was like blisters at the start, then I almost got trench foot.
Yeah.
And then going through PA, stuff was going on with my toe. But yeah, nothing too out of the normal. Started with a sprained ankle and
ended with a broken
it went all right. It went all right.
Yeah.
Better than
sure.
Having to get off trail or anything. So yeah, it was pretty good. Nothing too bad happened. There's some sketchy moments for sure. Going through the Smokies, it got rough, and then in Virginia, basically our whole group did the same thing where they were like, it was raining but not super hard, and so you have to make a decision where it's like, do I put on my rain jacket or do I just not? Because it's like, you put on your rain jacket, you're going to get too hot, you're going to sweat through it, and then you're soaked. Or you can leave it off and get soaked. And so it's like, I'd rather be soaked and feel good than soaked with sweat and burning up. And so everyone made that choice, and we all went without our rain jackets. And it was raining, but not terrible. And then all of a sudden it started dumping, and the wind got really bad. And so we all started freezing. And it was like, well, it's too late to put on rain jackets. So we ran. And I broke the hiking rule where it's like, don't wear a cotton shirt. And I wore a cotton shirt just because it was funny. But three of us went to the ranger, the entrance station, because we were in the Shenandoahs, and so we waited there, and we talked to one of the rangers, and he was like, yeah, I'll try and get you guys a ride, just to one of the camp stores there, because the waypoints were closed still, because we were too early, but there was a camp store that was open, and we were like, well, she'll let us dry off, and they have showers and stuff there and laundry. And so we were like, we'll try and get a ride there. We were just hoping for bed of a truck or something. And then all of a sudden we see a van come up, and they have the sticker for the next hostel that we were gonna stay at, like a couple days in the future. And she saw us freezing, and we went over to talk to her, and she was like, "Are you guys my Tuesday group?" And we were like, "Yeah." And so she was like, "All right, hop in." And hopped in, and she was like, "Where are you guys trying to go?" And we were like, "To the camp store." She's like, "All right, cool." She called the owner and let her know that we were coming. And then we were driving down, what's it called? Skyline Drive. And the other 3 people in our group were starting to walk on the road trying to get a hitch. And they hadn't walked on the road yet. And so I rolled down the window and was like, "Can't believe you guys are road walking." And then so they started laughing. They get in the car, and then everyone's just sitting there shaking. Everyone's like a little hypothermic.
Yeah.
Then we get to the camp store and watch the women's college basketball playoffs, and just hung out, ate a bunch of food there, and the lady at the camp store let us dry our clothes for free, so just hung out till it got later. It stopped raining, and we just kept hiking after. But yeah, so there were definitely, and then Washington, the weather got pretty bad. We were supposed to go up, and it was cold and windy, and then a storm rolled in, and it started hailing and lightning, and so it's not a good idea to be on exposed ridgeline.
Yeah, probably not.
For a lot of miles. So, I had to bail on that one. But, yeah, we got out of all the bad scenarios pretty good. So, nothing too bad.
Go ahead and leave questions that you want to ask Henry, and we'll have another episode where we can ask questions that you want answers to. So, brother, thanks for hanging out.
Yep.
And we'll do it again.
Sounds good.
See ya.